Hi, I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of this new program called Ribbon that's out there. And basically, it lets your buyers compete for cash. So, one of my accountability partners, Chandra and Barbie, they both have used this program and told me about it. So, I did a little research and found this video, and I wanted to share it with you. But basically, what the buyer does is they put down 2% earnest money as opposed to 1% earnest money. And then Ribbon buys the house for cash. And then at closing, Ribbon gets 1% of that money. So there's a specific Ribbon addendum that has to go with it. And it states that the buyer can close with the third party loan or Ribbon cash. So if they can close with their third party lender, and it doesn't get delayed, then that's fine. But otherwise, it's going to be a cash deal, which we know is more attractive to sellers. So also, the house does not have to be appraised. There's a max value that Ribbon will get it, and then they pay the difference or remove any contingency. And if the buyer is an FHA loan, then the Ribbon home is purchases the cash. So then there's that 90-day flip rule that we have to be aware of. So then they would be leasing the home from Ribbon until they can get their financing. So just make sure that the buyer is aware of the upfront fees. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. It does say that it's 57 minutes, and I'm going to cut it off before that because a lot of it is question and answers at the end. So that's why I kind of didn't start it at the beginning, and then I'm going to stop it before it ends. But I want you to be aware of it because this could make or break you getting some deals. And a lot of agents don't know about it. So I want you guys to know about it so that you can close more deals. And we can get you out that mentor program, get you on to making big bucks.
Okay. Ultimately, to provide the consumer as well as that solution and that ability to get to where they want to go and really hit those goals and desires. So the agenda that I've got for us today is I want to talk through where is the Ribbon advantage? Where is this going to help you solve challenges in your current business, in your current buyer pipeline? We're going to walk through our cash solutions. Which cash products are going to be best for your specific buyer and their needs, right? When you're sitting down in your next buyer's consultation, how would you talk about the Ribbon program for a first-time buyer? How would you talk about the Ribbon program for a current homeowner, a client that has to sell in order to buy, or a client that doesn't have to sell in order to buy, but wants to know where they're going to go, and then they want to sell and list for top dollar max value, of course, through you as the agent, and then discuss how it works. How does this actually play out on a timeline? What's the program look like from kind of contract to close? And then really important, getting started. What do we need from you as the agent? What will Ribbon be responsible for? And then where does the loan officer and the consumer kind of fit into this? We want to make sure you feel really good about kicking off a process or an offer with your client leaving today's call. And so everyone will get access to a Ribbon agent account. If you do not have one or you cannot find your current account, in the chat, I'm going to drop, just to kick things off, the ability to sign up, get started, create a new account. That way you can add buyers, add properties, exactly what we're going to cover today, in order to convert that next offer to a cash non-contingent one. So let's jump real quick into a little bit about Ribbon, who we are, what we are designed to do. Remember, we're not a real estate firm, right? We're not a mortgage firm. We actually exist to empower the current real estate ecosystem, right? We offer cash-powered buying and selling solutions so that as the agent or as the loan officer in your local community, you can have the necessary tools and resources to earn new buyer business, right? Obtain new client relationships, and or take your buyer pipeline today and just convert at a better clip. And so we're just really excited to be partnered with you on that. We don't touch a penny or a percentage of your commission. In fact, we guarantee it. And I'll walk you through exactly where that guarantee lies here in just a few moments. I think we can all agree, we saw some really exciting feedback in the chat of where everybody is kind of sprinkled in throughout the states. we've got agents on the call in Austin, in Dallas, in San Antonio, in Nashville, in Charlotte, right, in Raleigh, in Triad, Atlanta. These are all markets where I think we can all come together and just collaborate and say, hey, like there's challenges that buyers and agents you are facing right now, and they're really real, right? Making a winning offer has been tough. Buyers are competing against cash. Obviously, iBuyers are also, purchasing and making offers on properties. Inventory's been low. Not necessarily the inventory is low, but the pace of the market's been so fast that available inventory has been challenging, right? And so if your buyer's not leading with their strongest offer, their best foot forward, we really don't have a good chance at helping that client pursue home ownership. And that's what together we share, that mission and vision of helping clients win homes. But at the end of the day, we are a tool in your belt that wants to see you grow your commissions, right? We understand and we don't take it lightly that you don't put food on your table unless you earn your commission and you sell a property, right? And you help a buyer pursue home ownership. And so our tools, our resources really exist to help you grow your business, enhance your customer experience, and we want to make your life easier. How many on the call over the last 6 to 8 months can just think about all the offers that you've made, right? All the late nights drafting offers, all the weekends showing properties to the same buyer over and over, and it's just going to be competing against cash. And maybe your pipeline has FHA, VA, USDA, certain contingencies that are just really struggling to help your offer stick out amongst the rest. We as a company, Ribbon, we are here to help kind of take that disadvantage and make it a competitive advantage for you and your buyers to be able to compete against cash, to be able to show up in a multiple offer situations with one of the strongest offers in real estate that not only guarantees your commission, but it guarantees the sale for the seller and the listing agent, which is going to strengthen our offer as a whole. And so I want to define for us on this slide, what does the Ribbon program mean? How does our cash offer work? And to simply put it, a Ribbon cash offer in the marketplace is a cash, non-contingent, non-appraisal contingent, not financial contingent, or is it home sale contingent? It's a non-contingent offer that has a guarantee to close once we're through either your respective due diligence period, inspection period, or option period on the call. Once we're through inspections, our offers are guaranteed to close. This is going to give your buyer that leg up, that boost that they need, because it gives the sellers peace of mind that, hey, you know what? If John Doe in Dallas can't buy it, Ribbon will step in and we'll purchase the home on the client's behalf. Okay. And so sellers sleep great at night when they're receiving your offer that's backing your local buyer, because there are no appraisal contingencies. There are no question marks around that contract. These sellers and these listing agents, or that's you, right? Maybe you're potentially receiving a Ribbon offer. This allows your clients to know that, hey, you can pack your bags, schedule your moving trucks, because on closing day, you know that this property is going to close. And so when you're talking about the benefits to the borrower, right, it's, how many more offers could we have won over the last 6 to 8 months if every offer you made on behalf of your client was cash and non-contingent? And I think the best way to kind of bottle that up to the consumer is, Ribbon in a nutshell enables you to be presented as a cash non-contingent offer. And that's going to dramatically increase your ability to win the dream house that you want. And so that's our goal. We want to see your clients, we want to see you win the next contract on the property that you're making an offer on. We've got some additional bells and whistles that I'm going to walk through here today that are additional kind of value adds to your buyer, such as our appraisal protection plan, our Ribbon Boost product, and our Ribbon Reserve one that we'll jump into here in just a few seconds. But I kind of want to reverse engineer it for us on today's call. We talked about what the Ribbon offer means in the marketplace. So if you're a listing agent receiving it, why would you choose the offer with a bow around it, right? The Ribbon one, the one that's non-contingent over the other ones. We kind of went through that. Now let's talk about what are the actual steps to converting your buyer's offer today to cash, right? So if you're starting to think through your pipeline and you want to know how to get started, there's 3 steps to making a Ribbon cash offer. We got to do it in this kind of process. Step number 1 is you got to grab the link that's in the chat. You've got to have a Ribbon agent account. This is so critical, guys, to the process. This is not only going to allow you to add buyers and add properties, but this is going to directly connect you with our customer success team. Okay, every single agent on our call does get to work with a our customer success team. We work as teams individually to support you as the agent, to help your additional questions and kind of guide you through the process. However, the best way that you can support us is by going in and adding these conversations that you're having, or these buyers that are interested in making their next offer a cash non-contingent one. So you would enter your Ribbon platform, you would add your buyer underneath your buying tab, you would add John Doe, and you'll have the ability to upload the buyer's pre-approval letter. So if you're thinking which clients of mine are going to qualify for the cash option, it's a really great question. It's your clients that have spoken with their loan officer and are currently mortgage eligible. They're pre-approved. They've either got a pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval letter. You would take that letter, you would upload it into the system, and that's going to directly go to our buyer underwriting team. And our underwriting team is going to look at that letter and ensure we're talking about the same buyer and that buyer is verified and qualified for a loan. At that point, we'll grant buying power based on the sales price that the loan officer has determined they are eligible to make an offer up to. Remember, this doesn't get shared with the listing agent and the seller. This is an internal review. Step number one to giving your buyers access to our cash. Once your buyer has access to our cash, our finance team is going to reserve a sliver of our funds to your specific buyer. So on my screen here, the example is that the buyer now has access to $350,000. It's time to go shopping, right? They've got access to financing and they've got access to Ribbon's cash. Let's go find the property they're interested in making an offer on, which is step number two. We typically see agents adding these properties in parallel when adding the buyer and uploading the pre-approval letter. So how that would actually play out is, look, if you're in showing time today or you're booking a showing for tomorrow and your client is going to be very well interested into that property, best practice would be add the property address today. We give you the ability to log in, add the property, and kick off our Ribbon valuation, which is a requirement to making a Ribbon cash offer. Our team will come back to you as the agent and let you know what the maximum offer we can make specific to that home would be. So at this time, we've got buying power to $350. The specific property we're looking at is $291,900. And let's say our evaluations team, after analyzing the comparable sales, looking at the subject home, says, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, you can go up to $302 on that specific property. That would mean that your buyer could offer up to $302 and would be appraisal protected from 0 to $302 on that specific home. Could write the offer as cash non-contingent, and that's a must-have in order to make your offer a Ribbon cash non-contingent one. This is typically coming back to you within 24 hours, okay? If it is something where you did not know your clients were going to fall in love with this property and it's something that's happening really hot and really fast, please communicate that to your Ribbon advisors so we can prioritize the valuation if we need to match and beat a highest and best offer situation, which we do many times. The first question my advising team and our advising team is going to ask, though, is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, does your buyer already have buying power? That allows our team, if you have buying power, to prioritize a property if we're up against a time crunch. Of course, best practice, get it in there early, get it in there up front so that our team and so that you walking out of your showing have all the ammunition you need to be able to present your buyer with the ability to make a finance, standard, regular offer, or a Ribbon cash non-contingent one. Remember, there's no harm, no foul to adding clients, adding buyers into your system, right? That's what we do. This is like sandbox for you to present the option to your client. They're not stuck to having to use the program. Rather, we appreciate when you do add it early and often. That way, our team has enough time to knock it out and get it done. There are times, guys, where we can knock things out very, very quickly. However, if we're learning a situation at 8 o'clock at night and highest and best is by 10 p.m., that's one that's going to be really challenging. And unfortunately, when we would not be able to hit on our side, right? So get it in early, get it in this morning, add your buyer, upload the pre-approval letter, add that property. That way tonight, if you go to make that offer, you're ready to rock and roll. And so what does that offer actually look like? That's a really, really great question, okay? You're still going to be responsible for drafting your offer. In fact, our engineering team has built a really phenomenal experience for you as the agent to be able to walk through how to fill out your contract, how to access our addendum, because we're going to attach to your contract via our Ribbon addendum, okay? Your buyers will always remain on your standard purchase contract. You'll also get access to our proof of funds. So you'll be able to present that offer with a $200 million proof of funds letter that says if the buyer can't buy this house with their choice of financing through their choice of lender, Ribbon will step in with our cash. We will buy that house with our funds and have the ability to do so. We'll also present you with a really nice seller cover letter that you can lean on to help support your conversation with the listing agent and or the seller. Feel free to also lean on the advisor there as well if there's any questions that we can help answer for the listing agent so that they know it's appraisal protected, it's got a guaranteed close, and the sellers don't have to worry about financing if it were to be delayed. One thing I'll add, just kind of looking at scenario number 2 here, guys, when you're adding the valuation, we do get asked a lot, what if my buyer wanted to offer over $302,000? It's a really great question. If we come back on a property and say the highest you can make an offer on is 302, but let's say your client raises their hand and says, you know what, Nicole, I want to offer 308. That's what I feel like it's going to take to win this property. Then you could. Internally, we call that cash on close. And currently that cannot exceed 5% of the max Ribbon value. And that buyer would be responsible for putting those additional funds on top of the max Ribbon value. So in that example, 308 on a 302 is $6,000 difference. That $6,000 would have to be added to the client's earnest money deposits. Okay. So anytime you go over the max Ribbon value, it does need to be reflected in deposits on behalf of the buyer. So let's kind of summarize this, how this program works on a timeline and really kind of pull it all together for us today. Remember, our addendum is going to attach to your contract. That addendum states if your client cannot secure financing on closing day, Ribbon will step in, we will reserve the house and give your client up to 180 days or 6 months to then buy back the house from Ribbon with their choice of lender, and they buy back for the exact same price that we purchased on their behalf for. So we do not mark up the property. We are not a rent to own. We are not a lease to own type of program. There are different types of buyers that leverage our product specifically. And so on my screen here, we're going to talk through those kind of 2 major cash products that you're going to have on your tool belt, depending upon your buyer's needs. Okay. Our addendum will always give your buyer the opportunity to either time both sales or the first time buyer to show up with their own financing on closing day. That's our 1% Ribbon Boost product, where your client shows up on closing day with their cash, the lender's financing, Ribbon backed that transaction, remove the contingencies so that we could help you win the contract. That's our Ribbon Boost product. However, that addendum states if the buyer chose not to get financing in time, maybe you wanted to go cash and fast, or maybe you were working with a relocation client that had to sell Michigan in order to buy in Texas, right? We're helping a lot of current homeowners with the relocation by being able to know where they're going to go in Texas. So as the agent in Texas, you can say, hey, look, we can go buy with Ribbon's cash. You can move from Michigan to Texas, know where you're going to go, make the strongest offer in real estate, and then list and sell Michigan for top dollar on the open market. That just disallowed your client from having to move twice, pay for temporary housing, get storage units. It's a really seamless transition. And that's where you'll see a lot of our clients utilize our Ribbon Reserve product, which is either 2 or 2.4%, depending upon the state that you're in. If you're in Georgia and Tennessee on the call today, when Ribbon has to step in and wire our cash, buy the house for the client, it is a 2.4% Ribbon fee. In the other states, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, North Carolina, it is a 2% Ribbon fee. Okay. So remember, your client will never pay 2 sets of closing costs within this program. On closing day, if your buyer can buy it, what's the fees at the end of the day? Well, it's their traditional cash to close, loan origination, title closing costs. And then in summary, it was a 1% Ribbon fee to upgrade to cash. If your client went the Ribbon Reserve route, in summary, where are we at on that for a fee structure? Well, Ribbon bought the house for them. We own it. It was a 2 or 2.4% Ribbon fee. And the client would be responsible for a daily prorated rent until they're able to buy back from Ribbon for the exact same price. Okay, so the buyer does get to enter a 6-month lease agreement, knowing they have the full 6 months. That is the maximum time frame that we give. Buyers can buy back day 32, day 67, as soon as they're able to get their financing. And that's what we see happen majority of the time. It's a bang and a pop rather than, hey, I'm going to choose just to rent this home from Ribbon and then buy back one day at the end of the day, right? The one loan type we do need to be sensitive of is the FHA loan due to the flip rule. So make sure you're checking with your specific loan officer to just discuss their underwriting and kind of guidelines on that FHA product. Sorry, Latanya, I think I misspoke on Georgia. Georgia and Tennessee is 2.4%. All their surrounding states are 2%. So here's a quick recap, just kind of putting all cash products on a menu here for you guys. Ribbon Boost, just to kind of put some examples behind these. We see a lot of the VA, FHA, conventional clients that are mortgage eligible. They're ready to rock and roll, targeting Ribbon Boost. As the agent, you're typically going to negotiate a 25 to 35 day close on Ribbon Boost. Why is that? Because remember, the lender's beating us to the clock, right? The lender is getting to the closing table on time. The contract's not contingent upon it, and that's our Ribbon Boost 1% fee. However, if we're going to step in reserve, remember that's the 2 to 2.4% option. And we see a lot of the current homeowners utilize this so that they can buy before they sell, know where they're going to go, list and sell second. Of course, guys, both of these products will be done through you as the agent. Buyers have their choice of representation from their agent, and they have their choice of representation from their lender. We're not going to tell them who to use. We want what's best for them. Of course, we hope that's you on the call today in order to help them either secure their transition and or help them find their dream property. Last but not least is our Ribbon Rescue product, which is, how many have been on the call today that have been a part of a transaction that's just falling apart? You've got this domino effect in real estate where the buyer on the existing home to sell is falling through, and that's causing the next property to delay, which is causing the next property to delay. So if you get hung up on one of those, you can give us a call. There may be an opportunity for us to save the transaction. That does call for a 3% ribbon fee if you are bringing us in after the fact. And that is our rescue product. Just going back here, I see a couple questions in the chat that I want to make sure I kind of knock out as we go towards Q&A. Is remember, the one contingency that will remain in our contracts is an inspection contingency. And we do require a minimum of 7 days of that inspection. And so your buyer does pay for their own inspection. You'll lean on your inspector relationships. That's totally okay with us. Ribbon will ask to review the inspection report. And the why behind that is, remember, guys, you are also representing Ribbon as the buyer's agent, okay? Because there's a chance that we have to buy it, which means you'll still earn your full buy-side commission. So we will review the inspection report. We will determine if there are any Ribbon required repairs, things that we are looking for, safety, hazardous health, electrical issues, things that potentially could cause a liability if we own the home and the buyer is living in it, that we have to protect ourselves on, okay? If we come back to you as the agent, we say, hey, Bob, there's 2 Ribbon required repairs. What you can do with that is, you can negotiate it on a repair request agreement, step number 1. Okay, that happens many times because sellers understand, hey, this is not some cosmetic item they're calling out. This is truly a safety or a health item. But we get it. We also are very familiar with the markets that we serve. We know this market's really hot. And the listing agent, the seller very well may say, hey, you know what? We chose your offer over 12 others on the table. We're just not fixing those items. We would then require your buyer to sign a Ribbon repair acknowledgement agreement. And those inspection items that we called out would have to be complete prior to close if Ribbon is the one buying the house. Okay? If your buyer is able to buy it, then the items called out on Ribbon's side wouldn't apply because we don't own the home, thus the liability issues is null and void. So that's how you would approach your inspection period. Don't worry. Please, if you have additional questions kind of on how that process works, feel free to check out our FAQs at ribbonhome.com. We've got some really great kind of Q&As to discuss a lot of the different nuances there if you're thinking through them. So feel free to check that out and we'll point you to that here in just a few moments. Okay. So moving a little bit forward, I wanted to provide a quick example. I think this is something we wanted to really bring to you guys to kind of walk through who pays what, who pays when, on how that fee structure works. You remember me talking about 2% in all the surrounding states that we operate in other than Georgia and Tennessee. Remember, the 1% Ribbon Boost product applies to all markets and all states. So I've got an example that I want to walk us through just so that as the agent, you can really clearly see how this fee is collected and when. and how that offer needs to be reflected so that you can make your ribbon cash offer. Our offers flow will also walk you through this, so don't feel like you have to have it memorized today, but I want to make sure we're really transparent in it. Okay, so the example I have on my screen is a 2% ribbon fee. So if you're in Georgia and Tennessee, just kind of act like you're seeing 2.4%. Anywhere you see 2 on my screen. For easy math, that's why we chose 2%. So if the purchase price is $300,000, what's the ribbon fee if we have to step in and buy the house? It's $6,000, right? Why does the fee go from 1% to 2% if we have to buy it? Remember, we cover the first set of closing costs. Your buyer never pays 2 cents. So because of our guarantee, every offer that you make, we do have to have the deposits reflect at least 2% in either EMD and DD, depending upon your state, or earnest money if you do not have a due diligence period in the market that you operate in, okay? That fee is always reduced to 1% if your client can get financing on closing day. That fee is negotiable between a seller and a buyer. The reason you see that I have the buyer paying towards the ribbon fee is because obviously it's a hot market. I don't want to overpromise that the sellers will pay for our ribbon fee. There are times we see a 0.5%, 1%, potentially a seller giving a credit to cover some of that ribbon fee structure. Okay, so $300,000. If the seller says, no way, Jose, I'm not paying any, and seller paid closing costs, your buyer's deposits need to reflect 2%, $6,000. If Ribbon is buying the house for your client and giving them the 180 days to buy back, okay, on closing day, you're still going to earn your full buy-side commission. We don't touch a penny or percentage of that. We guarantee it for you once we're through the inspection period. And so the settlement statement would reflect the following. Purchase price, $300,000. Ribbon would wire $300,000. Your buyer put $6,000 in deposits. On a normal transaction, they get the $6,000 of credit. With Ribbon, we would collect their $6,000 on closing day off the settlement statement. That's how buyers pay our Ribbon fee in the reserve product. We buy the house, the deed's in our name. Your buyer doesn't have to show up to this first closing. We are the owner on record. 32 days later, your client sells Michigan. They call Ribbon. Hey, Ribbon, we're ready to buy back the house that you reserved for us. Okay, great. High five. Fantastic. We'll then draft a brand new state-specific contract. Ribbon is the seller. Your buyer is the buyer. They'll buy back for $300,000, the same price we just reserved it on their behalf for. We don't even ask for additional deposits. Okay. At this point in time, this is when your client is responsible for their traditional loan origination and title closing costs. It's a very business as usual transaction. We're seller, they're buyer. That's the reserve product. If your client can show up to closing day with their own financing, so this is the flip side example, our Ribbon Boost product, then on closing day, remember your buyer is now going to the closing table. Your buyer's buying it. You're still earning your full buy-side commission. The settlement statement would reflect the following. $300,000 purchase price. Your buyer would receive a $6,000 deposit credit. Remember the money that they had put down to be held in escrow when we won the offer. There will be a debit of our Ribbon fee of 1%. You saw how that fee was reduced from 2 or 2.4% to 1%. So due from buyer would be $297, right? And that's when they'll pay their typical cash to close, loan origination, title closing costs. There is no reserve. There is no rent because your client bought the house. You utilize Ribbon for our appraisal protection, for the removal of the contingencies so that we can help you win the contract. Think of it almost as like we almost gave you transaction insurance so that your client could level up their offer and win it. Okay, so you heard me mention appraisal protection a couple times throughout the call today. Just wanted to provide a quick slide to just re-summarize that for you all. Remember, step number 2 in this process is you as the agent adding the property your client is making an offer on. That is so that you can obtain the Ribbon valuation. Remember I said that we appraisal protected you from 0 to that max Ribbon value. So the example I have on my screen here is, let's say list price was $190. Ribbon max purchase price came back at $200,000. You came out of your showing. You had added the property in the morning. It's back. It's ready to rock and roll. And you make an offer at $200,000. The contract gets accepted. And let's say you were targeting Ribbon Boost, which means you took your contract, you handed it to the loan officer, and they began to get the file ready for financing. Well, the lender's going to order the appraisal, right? So what happens if the appraisal were to have a shortfall on it? when we said we could go up to 200,000 with our cash, but the appraisal comes in at 195, what happens? Okay. Our addendum calls this out, section 3. You'll have access to this following the call when you create your agent account. Okay. That we would ask for an amendment to the contract price. We have to lower to the appraised value so that it does not affect the buyer. However, in this example, Ribbon would credit the seller the $5,000 difference so that the seller essentially still sells and nets at a $200,000 purchase price, but the buyer closes at the 195 appraised value. In this example, we lost money in that example. If your buyer was going the Ribbon Boost product, we cut a check for 5. Our Ribbon fee was 1% of 200,000 was 2,000, right? This is a major benefit, guys, for your buyer. This also drives seller certainty and confidence when choosing to accept your client's offer over the 5 or 6 others on the table. And so if you have any additional questions on that, also feel free to check out ribbonhome.com under our resources tab, FAQs, frequently asked questions. That'll be there for you. Let me recap us up real quick and help answer. I'm seeing some questions around what properties are eligible, what buyers are eligible. So let's knock that out. We can help you from 150 to 700,000. Okay, the contract price cannot exceed 700,000. So it's not the loan amount, it's the contract price, it's the sales price. We get asked a lot, what if the client were to bring cash above that? Unfortunately, that is where we cannot move on at this time. 150 to 700K, we've got you covered. It does need to be under 4 acres of land, okay, in a major metropolitan market. You can also find that online, but it does need to fall in a specific MSA. Okay, single family homes, condos, townhomes, those work for this program. What you need to be checking on those specific properties are the covenant codes and restrictions. So ask yourself, are there any leasing restrictions in that specific community? Okay. At this time, we do not accommodate leasebacks or temporary occupancy. We can have a flexible closing date to accommodate the seller's needs and where they're looking to go. When Ribbon backs the deal, it also guarantees the close for them so that they know they can get to where they need to go and that their home is going to sell. So we've been able to overcome that many times with a listing agent and a seller. But homes we do not purchase and buy is foreclosures, mobile, manufacturer type properties, short sales, etc. And this does need to be the buyer's primary residence in order to qualify for the program. No investments, no secondary homes, no fix and flips, short sales, foreclosures, those add challenges to our program. So unfortunately, those don't qualify. And part of the reason for the primary residence, guys, is remember, we are a company that's helping the local buyer pursue homeownership, right? I think over the last 10 years, there was an article written that we've had over $1 trillion in housing be bought by institutional investors, right? It's led to some of our supply and demand issues that we have today. And so we are a company that helps take your buyer that's in your pipeline and allow them to go compete with cash and compete against the institutional investors or those corporations that are buying properties, tucking them into portfolio, right, and renting them out. So we're really excited about what we do. We're really excited to support you as the agent in order to help you win more contracts, earn more commissions, but ultimately solve challenges for your buyers. That's what we do, and we help you collaborate on winning offers. Okay, when you hit your system, when you hit your agent platform, this is exactly what you're going to see. In the upper right-hand corner, if you are unfamiliar with who your dedicated Ribbon advisor is, you can log in, need help, in the upper right-hand side of your screen and see exactly who your dedicated advisor is. You can schedule a call, you can email, you can call and or text. I will tell you the best practice is though, go ahead and kick that process off. If you have a client in mind, there's no harm, no foul to adding the buyer, uploading the pre-approval letter and adding the property and then scheduling a call with your advisor. In fact, that allows them to have an even better conversation with you as the agent so that they can speak specific to your client's needs. So that's typically best practice that we recommend. So how do you get going here? You can take out your phone if you're on this conversation with us today and text the number 704-285-1024. If you will text the code B493, it will text you back a link as well to be able to sign up, get started, add buyers, upload approval letters, and add properties, directly connecting you with our team so that you do now have the ability to present your sellers, your buyers with our cash-powered buying and selling solutions. So let me know if you have any troubles getting off the ground with that. We've also provided the link in the chat, and I will do that here to be able to sign in, sign up, get going so that we can help you guys moving forward. Claire, I think that's all I've got on my side. Wanted to go through some Q&A, work through some of the questions. I really appreciate you grabbing a lot of them for the agents as we went through it. But for some that slipped through the crack, I want to kind of take some time here with our remaining 15 or 18 minutes here to knock them out.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. I am going to start with the questions in the Q&A.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because I think you have all the information that you need right now. And of course, you can go to their website and sign up and get your specific questions answered. But I think that's very good for people that are trying to get in condos that are over 150,000 and it goes up to 750,000. But make sure this will help you win more offers. So it's just another tool in your tool box, thinking about money, another tool in your toolbox, and maybe something to put on your presentation to differentiate you from other realtors that are out there and don't have this program. So I hope that was helpful for you, and let me know how it turns out. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.